This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, it doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you already know that because I think we say it daily. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Yep, hanging out at radiobig.fm, doing the stuff that they get to do. Yes, I will tell you, I'm always happy to be involved with those people. That's for sure. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse as you and I get to hang out on this lovely Thursday, October the 9th of 2025, day 282nd of the year, and only 83 days to go. Yep. Can't believe it. I mean, the countdown to
extinction
continues as we are talking. So, how have you been? How's the last 24 been? Or 23 and change, depending on how you were taking a look at it. So, a lot of stuff in the last little 23 hours, as always, that we're going to get to talk about today. So let's talk a little bit about this real quick. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. This is kind of how it goes. That's what we talk about. That's how we move forward. Okay, so as we do all the stuff that we get to do, here's kind of the cool part. We will talk about news. We will talk about safety. We'll bring in some people. Now, the cool part here is this. You get to interact with the show. If you go to callinradio.com, that's callinradio.com. Once you get there, there will be an option to do video, audio, and text messaging. Video, audio, and text messaging. Once you decide which one you're going to go through, I get some prompts on the screen, and then we get to do our stuff together. That's it. That is the simplicity of what we have going on. Audio, video, text messaging, and then we move forward. So with that being said, why don't we do this? Why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, notable and noteworthy, another piece of history disappears from Egypt. Also, Taylor Swift lands a new records. Yeah. We'll talk about the new record she landed. And DHL trolls Zach Bryan. More about that in show business. Also, Hulu scraps a series about Bill Belichick. And Netflix works on a new competition series. We'll talk about that in casting calls. And then in the other news that we'll talk about is we'll talk about some royal stuff, because it's always time to be royal. So what will take place there is that we'll start talking right away about King Charles and the turmoil, his domestic turmoil. We'll talk about that, about King Charles. So there you go. That's it. Then we'll bow it up and give it back to you. So we're doing this show mostly as a radio show. Then it goes into some video streaming platform, as you probably are aware. And then we bow it up as a podcast right after we're done. So that's the stuff. That's what we have going on. A lot of stuff going on inside of there as we are talking. So with that being said, my friends from Feature Story News are waiting to talk to you. So let's do this.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Donald Trump says the first phase of a Gaza peace deal has been agreed. The US president says all the hostages held by Hamas will be released within days. Many Palestinian prisoners held in Israel will also be released, and Israel will withdraw troops to an agreed line in Gaza. A ceasefire is due to start on Thursday, and correspondent Blake Sifton reports from Tel Aviv.
The reaction amongst the family members of the hostages held in Gaza has been one of jubilation, even though it was 2 a.m, 3 a.m. People descended on Hostage Square. They've been popping champagne. We've seen tears of joy. However, from the overall umbrella group that represents the family members of the hostages, they have been a bit more reserved. They've said that they are receiving the news with a mix of excitement, anticipation, and concern, and that their struggle will not end until the last hostage returns. There are still some major issues to be ironed out here, and then there's been no mention of them at this stage. This is essentially a cessation of hostilities, not a full peace deal at this point. Nobody has mentioned the issue of Hamas disarming. That's very important. Apart from the hostages, that's really Israel's other major demand, that Hamas be disarmed and that Gaza be demilitarized. And when Hamas responded to President Trump's proposal a few days ago, they made no mention of that.
Tony Waterman has more on the deal from Washington.
Under the proposal, the Israeli hostages, dead and alive, have to be returned within 72 hours, which means they could start being released as soon as this weekend. In exchange, Israel will release nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and pull its military back to an agreed-upon line, still within Gaza but away from Gaza City. While the agreement is consequential, a lot of details are yet to be worked out. There's been no mention of whether Hamas will disarm, a requirement by Israel to end the war. Hamas has also urged the U.S. and others to make sure Israel fully implements the agreement. Tony Waterman, Washington.
French President Emmanuel Macron will name a new prime minister within the next 2 days, according to the Élysée Palace. The presidency is trying to bat away speculation fresh elections would need to be called amid a political crisis. India's categorised 3 cough syrups as toxic following the deaths of at least 17 children in recent weeks. The children died of kidney failure linked to a cough syrup contaminated with the toxin diethylene glycol. Rebecca Bunden reports from Mumbai.
Indian regulators have told consumers to avoid 3 cough syrups, Respifresh, TR, Relife and Coldriff. None of these are products that are exported, although the World Health Organization has warned that there are risks that these products could be sent abroad through unregulated channels. Coldriff has been linked to all the deaths of the children from the state of Madhya Pradesh. Police have arrested the owner of the company that produces the cough syrup.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more today on the prospects for President Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza advancing. His son-in-law Jared Kushner and the US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in the Egyptian port city of Sharm el-Sheikh on Wednesday, with the White House saying they will stay there until indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas finally bear fruit. How long could that take? And might it lead to President Trump heading a board of peace to oversee transitional arrangements in Gaza? Alistair Campbell is a former spokesman for former British Prime Minister Tony Blair.
I just think that when you go through the detail, to my mind, it's less a plan than a kind of very, very complicated wish list. And I think it's not unreasonable for all the parties that are involved in this and all the people for whom there will be consequences from whether this is agreed or not agreed, at least have a little bit of time. There are lots of complicated issues that arise from every single point in this 20-point plan. I think we're a long way from that happening. In terms of this border peace that Donald Trump says he's going to chair.
The White House knows that even Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu harbours reservations about the plan, and so attempted to soften him up on Tuesday, an official saying Bibi has done an excellent job, but must now understand the time for a deal has come. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Donald Trump says the first phase of a Gaza peace deal has been agreed. The US president says all hostages held by Hamas will be released within days. Many Palestinian prisoners held in Israel will also be released. French President Emmanuel Macron will name a new prime minister within the next 2 days, according to the Elysee Palace. And India's categorised 3 cough syrups as toxic following the deaths of at least 17 children in recent weeks. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation, Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out
and your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Jay Allen in the morning, weekdays on Radio Big.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Tearing the ass out of you like gas station sushi.
Oh, there you go. Some stuff always going on inside of the world of the multiverse as we are hanging out 17 minutes past the top of the hour, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So let's start getting into it because it is definitely the time to start talking about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Ongoing housing affordability crisis fueled by high interest rates in response to out-of-control spending is causing more Americans to spend more time living with their parents. The number of adults under 35 living with at least one parent has increased by 6.3% compared to a decade ago. Over the same time, the median home prices has increased nearly 90% for the first-time buyers that are now on average 38 years of age. 10 years ago, they were 31. This is according to study finds. That is the source of information of what is going on. Study finds is the ones that's talking about that. So there you go. Also, in some other news, spooky season, police in Kentucky have arrested a man whose front yard of a Halloween displayed body bags labeled with the titles but not names of local government officials. Stefan Marcom made a cardboard sign for the spooky spectacle with labels of mayor and district judge. But when the local prosecutor, Eddie Barnes, spotted the display, he alerted authorities. Barnes says that he personally knows Marcom and that the whole situation left Barnes unsettled. The display was rounded up and taken by the police as evidence as Marcom is being charged of terroristic threatening. Yeah, this is not a joke. This is a serious biz. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that it has to get weird when it comes to certain things. I mean, I don't think that there's any other way around thinking about that not being strange. I mean, what would you do? Think about it for a moment. That has to get a kind of a strange one inside. I don't know how big this town is. But think about it for a moment. All of a sudden, something like that pops up. People are probably going to have some questions about what the hell's going on. No doubt there. That is for sure as we are talking. What do you think? Do you think it's one of those things that it's hyperbole? Let's listen.
And was arrested over the weekend after placing decorations in his front yard that showed fake bodies labeled with city officials.
Okay.
58-year-old Stephen Markham is facing 2 charges, including terroristic threatening.
While Americans are protected by the First Amendment for free speech, experts say threatening speech is not protected.
Which one's the threatening speech?
Maggie Rickerby explains.
This is something you just don't see every day.
This is what folks passing by Court Street saw.
Holy crap, yeah. It's body bag central over there. No doubt there. Hold on. If you are on the screener, you see the whole display. It says mayor, I think it says SIS, district judge, then it says CA, and I'm not sure what the one on the far right says. But yeah, it's there for full display. It looks pretty interesting. The district judge is actually hanging, which is the interesting part. The body bag, at least, is.
Hanging in the middle represents the district judge. According to an arrest citation, 58-year-old Stephen Markham was arrested Saturday for terroristic threatening after Commonwealth's attorney Miranda King reported his display to a KSP trooper. Even though Powell County Judge Executive Eddie Barnes wasn't named in the display, Barnes says he's known Markham for decades. He says Markham could be a good person, but Barnes disagrees with how he chose to express himself.
At first, I didn't know what to think about it.
Well, it's interesting.
Because I actually drove by and seen it in his yard, and I'm thinking, wow. That's kind of harsh.
Political science experts say that Americans are protected by the First Amendment for free speech, but threatening is not protected.
If you're actively threatening
someone, are you threatening someone with that? I'm not sure.
That may not be covered by the general right to free expression.
UK Associate Professor Stephen Voss says displays like this aren't unique to Kentucky.
Oh, I would imagine not. That's for sure.
Less tolerance for violent communication or violent imagery because there seems to be a greater risk people will enact it, will carry it out. A display.
I mean, this is pretty elaborate.
Might have been taken as somewhat tongue-in-cheek or almost a joke in a less polarized, less
political climate.
Age may not be seen as funny or as innocent these days.
Markham is currently being held at the Powell County Detention Center on a $5,000 bond. Police say the fake decorations were taken to Kentucky State Police Post 8 in Moorhead.
Okay.
In Powell County, Maggie Rickerby, WKYT.
And Markham is scheduled to be in court tomorrow morning.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. Let's not lie here in regards of it. I mean, $5,000 bail because you put up some decorations of naming out some people. Thank you to WKYT for allowing that one. But man, that gets interesting quick. What do you think? I mean, I think it's interesting to say the least.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, let's do a final follow-up. Police in Atlanta arrested on Wednesday the last missing fugitive from the jailbreak in New Orleans that happened back in May. Officers took Derek Groves into custody following a standoff at a private home. A rep for the U.S. Marshals Service say that the Crime Stoppers tip led them to Groves' location. Since the jailbreak, at least 12 people have been arrested for aiding the fugitive one way or another along the way. This is according to NBC News. Yeah, that could be an issue. That's for sure. So there you go. Meanwhile, in California, authorities named Jonathan, let's see if I can screw up this name a little bit, Rindick, I don't even know how to say it, as the lead suspect behind the arson that triggered the disastrous Palisades fire at the start of the year. Prosecutors say that the intentionally started a fire after midnight on January the 1st. While the original blaze was contained, it later spread and expanded over the course of the weeks. Jonathan R. Even called 911 after the fire started to spread that was initially questioned by investigators. He even asked ChatGPT if he was on the hook for the fire started by his cigarettes. At the same time, he was on the line with the emergency dispatch. Jonathan faces a federal arson charge because it started on federal land and could spend up to 20 years in prison if convicted. So you see there, a couple of things here. Interesting, for sure. allegedly he was the one that did it. But did you listen to the one part there about, hey, the stuff that he asked ChatGPT was easily brought up? So you have to think about that real quick. What the hell are you asking these AIs? And that's the other thing that keeps on coming up. Terrible arson issue in California. Let's not play it down in regards to what happened there at the Palisades. But think about that for a moment. A lot of people think that those questions that you ask your AI model are protected or have some kind of privacy setting, or you decide to treat it as your own therapist. Scary. Because, I mean, to narrow it down that it was a cigarette thing, what else have you been asking this? It can kind of get weird for a moment. No doubt about that. Anyways, another priceless artifact has disappeared in Egypt, this time from a more than 4,000-year-old tomb. Authorities say that the carving, which depicts 3 ancient seasons on the 16 by 24-inch slab, was reported missing over the weekend and appeared to be cut out of the wall using an electric saw. The tomb has been closed to the public and open only to researchers since 2019. So far, no word on any suspects. The theft follows the disappearance of the golden bracelet from the Egyptian Museum last month. The artifact was sold, melted down for a few cheap bucks. This is according to CBS News. So there you go. So I'm going to show you a couple things here, if you're ready, of course. This is supposedly the alleged artifact that was cut out of the wall, which is kind of crazy if you really think about it. I don't know how to explain the artifact. It's an artifact. You got it. And then let me give you a level numero dos here, because that's going to be the other thing, because we're going to have to talk about that. Do you want to take a look at the bracelet? This is if you are not aware, this is the bracelet. They got melted down. Like, why would you melt that thing down? It is round. It is circular. It definitely has a unique look to it. And you melted this down just to kind of throw it down there because, hey, it's one of those things that you go, hey, this makes the most logical sense with an artifact. Okay, just saying. Let's continue talking what the ambience of being at a bar, but without the noise, sticky floor, and drunken idiots. Look no further to Elbow Room in Fort Lauderdale, a bar that live streams at Patreons. Curls up on the couch with your favorite self-serve beverage and tune in to see what's happening at the beach cam, the patio cam, the band cam, the bar cam via YouTube. The free version has no audio, but the $2.99 a month Bandcamp Plus viewers can hear what's going on. No word whether or not the bar goers are aware that they're being filmed. This is according to the New York Post. So, do you have the need? I'm just asking. Do you sit at home and go, hey, I have some need for taking a listen here on what the hell's going on in a bar? That can happen. I don't know why it would happen, but it does happen. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on, as always, as we are talking. I'm trying to see if I can get this thing, but it is a TikTok ad, and of course, I'm going to tell you this, and I hope the New York Post doesn't hate everything, but geez, you can't get on the New York Post website without getting attacked by 5 ads, damn it. I don't know how that makes any sense whatsoever. It is like ad central the moment you get on there.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so a couple of things going on real quick that I want to share with you. Let's talk about this one. Not a good starting place, but we're going to talk about it anyways. Joan B. Kennedy, the first wife of Senator Edwards Ted Kennedy, has died. She passed away on Wednesday. No cause of death was shared. She was 89 at the time of the passing. Also, this one I found out about yesterday. I was kind of shocked to hear about it. Gene Simmons is recovering after crashing his Lincoln Navigator into a parked car on Tuesdays. Authorities say that Simmons said that he passed out, fainted before the collision. Simmons' wife says that the rocker is now recuperating at home. Now, the other portion that Sharon had talked about there was that some medication that he was taking had just been recently changed, and they believe that that's what led to this. So who knows what is going on? So there you go. A lot of stuff happening inside of there, no doubt about that. Also, in some happy news, Darius Rucker's engaged to singer-songwriter Emily Deal. Let's see. He's 59 and she's 33. Rucker is previously married both to... Okay, hold on. Rucker was previously married to Beth Leonard from 2000 to 2020. So there you go. What else do we want to talk about? Okay, let's see. Let's talk about this one because we have to talk about it. We got a couple more to talk about before we get to wherever the hell we're going. A 6 vote in the Senate to reopen the government failed on Wednesday. The House Speaker's Mike Johnson says that Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer is picking the fight to satisfy his far-left supporters who want to see him go toe-to-toe with President Trump ahead of his likely re-election bid next year. Shut it down. The IRS is now on the government shutdown chopping block. Previous legislation allowed it to continue operating for 5 business days, but with the time now expired, nearly half of the workforce will be sent home unpaid to the tune of nearly 40,000 employees. Online betting market Kalshi forecasts that the government shutdown will last 24 days. If true, this would mark the second longest shutdown in history, tied with 1995 shutdown. The longest happened during the Trump first term, lasting 35 days. So there you go. Let's talk about the numbers real quick, because some people will care about that. The Dow ticked down 1 point to close at 46,601 on Wednesday. The S&P increased by 39 points to close at 6,753. And the NASDAQ increased by 55 points to close at 23,043. West Texas Intermediate closed at $62 a barrel. Brent crude was at $66 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.11 on Wednesday. And Bitcoin was mostly flat on the day, trading just around 123.4 million, 20 million, you wish, $23.4 million. Friday night's Mega Million drawing will be for $575 million jackpot or $264.4 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's do that thing that we do around this time.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's start talking, because you know how this goes around here. If we're not talking, we're kind of just looking at each other, and that does not do good for radio. Let's just be realistic when it's all said and done. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because there is no other way to explain it besides in that particular fashion that, life is going on, dear John. And so we need to talk a little bit about this. We need to talk a little bit about that. And that is kind of how the LIFO goes with the stuff that we start talking about, no doubt there. So with that being said, let's get into some of the stuff that we want to hit on today, because it is always important to talk even about the most nuanced thing that you might imagine. And I did say nuanced in case if you were wondering. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the ability of doing something inside of the workplace that is kind of out of the ordinary. You know that when we start trying to implement some things to change inside of the organization, it could be good, it could be bad, it could be indifferent. Just kind of how it goes. It's not a perfect world. It is not a fake world. It is a weird. It's a weird world, if one may put it to you this way. But let's talk about this. You are aware that there has been times inside of your organization where you're attempting to implement something. You're attempting to implement something that would be considered out of the ordinary. You're attempting to implement something that you would not normally do just for the sake of doing it, because you think it's important that it might have a big impact within your organization. And then you start going down the process. And as you are going down the process, you realize that the person or the people that are adapting the most to this do not have, let's say, quote unquote, can we say reputation? The best reputation in regards of being great at work. And take that with a grain of salt as we are talking, because we're just talking about a scenario here. Don't say this applies to everyone, but just kind of go through it. And all of a sudden, this person has decided that they're going to be, quote unquote, your biggest cheerleader in regards of what's going on. So the question becomes this. When these things start going on, and with the reputation of the person, does this mean that what you are trying to implement gets questioned? Does this mean that what you are attempting to change inside of the organization has large questions for everyone? Because that's always the deal. You never know where some of this is going to end up. You look at it and go, this is great, this is not great, because depending on the rep of the person, it could be a good or a bad thing. But here's the twist. Here's the twist of twist. You know, sometimes even one's own reputation is not the greatest. Think about it. Think about it for a moment, regardless of how you want to take a look at this. Because of what you do for work, and because of what I do for work, sometimes you have to challenge authority, and it becomes difficult for some. And at that particular point, sometimes some people might deem you difficult to work with. You know what I mean there? Difficult to work with. And that could mean 1,000 different things, depending on who you are. So does that mean that your reputation is now in question too? Depending on how you look at it, because that is the weird nuance here. The weird nuance. Sometimes our reality is not the realest thing that you think in regards of what's going on. Yeah, think about that for a moment, because the way that you see the world might be entirely different than the way that I see it, or someone else entirely. I remember I had a boss that used to say all the time, perception is reality. And here's the problem. If people find you difficult to work with, or that your rep is questionable, that's a reality to some, even though there might not be any truth to whatsoever thing. So that's always the thing to think about. What is it that you're trying to move forward with? And will the reputation of the people that are adapting to it have an impact, or will your own reputation itself even have an impact on what's going on? It becomes quite the conundrum.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out. The one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
John, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Okay, welcome to the loop, because that's what it sounds like. 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. Yep, there, you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show, no doubt about that one. This right here is called Bump. Songs readily available on YouTube Music, Apple Music, Pandora, and Spotify. Band playing this is BLVZE. Okay, we would like to thank them for allowing us to play this song here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yep. You're welcome to the experience. Okay, so let's get back into the move and the groove of the things that we have going on. No doubt about that, as we are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. If anything, let's start talking about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com. That's To Write Love on Her Arms. Once you get there, you'll find information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, and trauma. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. You can go there, change everything for you just by going to a website and hearing information that you might not be familiar with. And that's one of those things on how life happens sometimes in regards of some of the things that can change for you, just in that particular regards. So there you go. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things. Let's talk about the nightmare before Christmas, but not what exactly you're thinking here. The oldest and possible most haunted hotel in Las Vegas is offering a $5,000 prize to someone brave enough to prove that ghost stories are true. The El Cortez Hotel and Casino at Fremont Street, landmark since 1941, is searching for one true ghost hunter to spend the weekend exploring the eerie corners from the creaky corridor to its rumored haunted basement. Equipped with EMF meters, EVP recorders, and thermal sensors, the chosen participant, just one alone, will document the spooky findings with photos, videos, and short reports. It's rumored that El Cortez basement is full of cremated remains of former employees who died without any family, making the hunt just a little more eerie. The $5,000 hunt contest, a name that I just came up with by myself just in case, run by casino.org, is open until October the 31st, with a haunted stay set for December, just in time for those who like the holidays with the side of scary. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to casino.org/blog/Vegas-ghost-dream-job. Cool. The real horror is the $14 Vegas coffee that they sell there. And sleep alone at a haunted casino. Can't even sleep alone at home unless I'm working remotely. So there you go. What do you think? I think it gets kind of interesting. $5,000. I mean, will that cover the trip? Because think about it. I don't know where you're at in the U.S. So you have to get there. You have to stay there. I'm pretty sure you're not going to sleep unless you're sleeping during the day. And I don't know if that's going to even be allowed to happen, because that's going to be the other question that one has to ask. So a lot of stuff. What do you think? Would you do it? Would you give this the opportunity that it deserves? To see if the EVP the EMF meters, the EVP recorders, and the thermal sensors show you everything you're looking for. I don't know. I never know any of these things. Well, anyways, let's do this. Let's bring in someone who has some positive stuff to talk about. And they're not going to be talking about EVP recorders and all that other weird shit that we're talking about. That's for sure. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us exactly what is going on with the Motivation Minute, because he's motivated.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Steve. Tory Birch said, "Buckle up and know that it's going to be a tremendous amount of work, but embrace it." I love this. Our daughter recently began working with us. My wife and I work together, and now our daughter is part of the team as well. It's very exciting to me. Our little family business works with many other family businesses, and it's so cool to have the next generation on board. This has been a big change for me, though. I'm working on training more than doing, but that's also a great thing because the more training, the sooner I'll have more help, so I can see new things happen even when I am not in the office. That is so exciting.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. In prayer, Jesus experienced fellowship with the Father that nourished his soul. He received guidance to direct him in his life's work, an anointing to accomplish his ministry. It was the single most important discipline of his earthly existence and the source of his strength. If prayer was critical to the life and ministry of our Lord, and obviously it was, how much more critical is it for those of us who would be Christ followers today? Then Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not to give up. Lord Jesus, forgive us when we get too busy to pray. Slow us down. Call us into a quiet place where we can fellowship with you. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
On the Rated R Safety Show.
The U.S. government shutdown entered its 8th day as Congress remains deadlocked on funding legislation.
Federal workers are furloughed without pay, affecting services from national parks to economic data releases. Senate Majority Leader John Thune and House Speaker Mike Johnson held a news conference urging compromise on the budget impasse. The shutdown stems from disputes over enhanced Obamacare subsidies and spending priorities. Liam White reporting.
Israelis are marking the second anniversary of the October 7th, 2023 Hamas attack that killed 1,200 people and led to the abduction of 251 hostages.
Families of the victims gathered at sites like the Nova Music Festival location to lay flowers and light candles in remembrance. Dozens of hostages remain in captivity in Gaza, with relatives expressing ongoing anguish and calls for their immediate release. Ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas have resumed in Egypt, focusing on a U.S. proposed plan to end the war and secure the hostages' freedom. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Negotiators from Israel and Hamas are holding indirect talks in Egypt to discuss a potential ceasefire in Gaza.
The discussions center on a 20-point plan proposed by U.S. President Donald Trump to halt the fighting and facilitate hostage exchanges. Egypt's foreign ministry stated the talks will detail processes to alleviate Palestinian suffering and end the war that began 2 years ago. Only one hostage has been freed recently through a separate U.S.-Hamas arrangement, leaving 48 still held. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
The Trump administration warned that furloughed federal employees may not receive back pay if the government shutdown persists.
President Trump met with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the White House to discuss trade amid the funding crisis. The warning aims to pressure Congress into reopening the government quickly. Economic data, including the September jobs report, has been delayed due to the Bureau of Labor Statistics closure. Lawmakers from both parties expressed frustration, with no immediate resolution in sight. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Senator Elizabeth Warren demanded the release of the September jobs report despite the ongoing government shutdown.
The data, already collected, is crucial for the Federal Reserve's upcoming interest rate decisions. The Labor Department suspended major economic releases during the funding lapse, including import-export figures due this week. Warren stated the information impacts families nationwide and must be shared promptly. Kevin Sanders reporting.
The Federal Aviation Administration delayed flights into and out of 3 major U.S. airports due to staffing shortages from the government shutdown.
Travelers faced hours-long waits and cancellations at hubs, including Chicago O'Hare and Los Angeles International. Air traffic controllers deemed essential continued working without pay, but reduced personnel led to the ground stops. The FAA cited safety concerns as the primary reason for the disruptions. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Some of the best things in life come to those who wait, but we ain't waiting for shit. Radio Big.
Okay, there you go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday, talking a little bit about everything that is going on inside of the multiverse. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2019, nearly 1 million people in Northern California have their power cut by Pacific Gas and Electric to prevent wildfires from electrical equipment amid high winds. By late October, over 3 million people would lose power as more preemptive shutoffs took place. The shutdowns were met with widespread backlash and criticism from residents who blamed the government officials for lack of information. For his part, Governor Gavin Newsom blamed PG&E. So there you go. That happened back on this date, back in 2019. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, Gavin Addick turns 27, and Megan Mulroney turns 28. So does, Jamal Jerome. Jacob Belton turns 29, and so does Bella Hadid. George Kittle and Scotty McCreery both turned 32. Spencer Grammer, 42. Brendan Roth and Chris O'Dowd turned 46. Nick Swanson, 49. Steve Burns, 52. Guillermo del Toro, turned 61. Scott Bakula turned 71. John O'Hewley, 71 as well. And Sharon Osbourne turned 73 today. That's some birthdays going on. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, don't go too far. World Post Day and World Sight Day. There you go. Those are the days to celebrate if you're looking for a couple there. No doubt about that. If you need a random joke for today, let's see if we can come up with one for you. Salons always have hair on the floor. Garages always have oil on the floor. Banks, what's your excuse? No, seriously, what's your excuse? I want to hear it. Anyways, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's the most spectacular live event that you've ever attended? I don't think I can talk about that on the radio. Seriously. Depends what kind of live event we're talking about. Let's go from there. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 36% of people say that they have tried adding this to their morning coffee. What is it? Chocolate milk. I really thought they were going to say butter. Because, that was kind of a big deal for a while there. People putting full sticks of butter in their coffee. Just saying. Okay, so that's it. That's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, I will be hanging out over there doing the things that we get to do. So no problem there. If you don't want to go over there, that's fine, because I'll be talking about music and the new world of entertainment. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he will talk about the world of safety consulting, because that is what he does. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big. That is the listener. Without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds. Think about that. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.